Hello, this is Suzanne Kreider with themindtolead.com. This is the second video in our series called How 7 Leaders Stopped Making 7 Brain-Based Mistakes During Accountability Conversations. The second mistake that leaders make is they forget the goal. This is a story about one of my clients named Rick. And Rick competed for a management position with one of his colleagues who was on his team named Catherine. Rick got the job, and he was actually pretty mortified that now one day he's a colleague and the next day he's her boss. He had been very frustrated with her performance for many years as one of her colleagues, but he couldn't say anything about it. Now he was responsible for her performance. And Catherine was a good performer maybe a couple decades ago, but in the last 5 or 6 years, she had just been sliding. She would come in, she would read professional journals, she would go to a lot of conferences and do a lot of networking on the web. She really wasn't doing her job. And when Rick was promoted, he was told by his boss that not only did their team have to get the same amount of work done, but they actually had to go out and generate business. They had to get internal clients. And Catherine wasn't willing to do this. So what Rick had to learn how to do was focus their conversations, because he would come in and say, I want you to get 3 new clients. And she would redirect the conversation to all kinds of things. Hey, have you read that journal article about XYZ? And are you going to the so-and-so conference in 2 months in Oslo? And he would just get distracted because he didn't have the confidence to hold her mind on his goal. What researchers think about the brain is that we really do have a relatively limited desktop for how much information we can hold in the present moment during conversations. So anytime anybody redirects us or distracts us, the brain tends to go there. That's why the internet is so juicy and very distracting, because it's constantly drawing our attention away from our goal. So this was costing Rick in a lot of ways. He was getting easily distracted in the conversations. He would walk out of the conversations and be really embarrassed and frustrated with himself because he hadn't gotten anywhere with Catherine. It was sort of like Groundhog Day. He kept having the same conversation with her over and over again. So the root of this problem really was his lack of confidence to be firm with her. And when leaders are firm, they don't have to be pushy. They don't have to be mean. They show in their body posture and in their language and in their directness, this is what we're here to talk about. This is what I need you to do. And when are you going to do it? What are the barriers to getting it done? But what I told Rick is that he needed to build a fence around her. What she would do is she would just kind of wander around in the field wherever she wanted to do and do whatever she wanted, whereas he had to direct her mind into a specific area. The solution for him was, first of all, for him to know his goal, for him to be able to say it to himself in a very concise way. We talked about strategies for doing that, for him to develop his own confidence. And there's a whole series of steps I take leaders through that are very special tools to build their own confidence so that during a conversation they don't get pulled off, they don't get redirected by other people. Finally, he had to go into the conversation and use these tools and expect that she was going to take the conversation off task. How did he very calmly and in a very concise way bring her back to that? Rick was super successful. It was kind of incredible. But within 3 weeks, she had 3 new clients. She was built out in terms of the revenue that they needed to generate for her team in the next year. It was really astounding. And that's what leaders need to know. They need to know that people actually want to be directed. If you can do it in a firm, confident way, people want to be successful. So the main points here are to remember that the brain is easily distracted, that you need to have the confidence as a leader to set a very specific goal and redirect the conversation back to it as many times as needed. Thanks so much.